Hi, today we're going to be talking about layer navigation in Visual Crossing 4. And the workflow layer navigation is a system set up by Visual Crossing to allow a more simple way of viewing different levels of data. Now, Visual Crossing does support all different variations of it, standard drilling, drilling tied into BI systems, linking different data sets together, and also we support things like zoom locking. But this is a little bit different. This is something exclusive to Visual Crossing that we would like to show you today. The use case is fairly straightforward. We'll start with the map we're looking at right now, and you'll see on the layer list we have zip code, state, and region. And very simply, if these are all on one layer, you have a couple options here. As a GIS user, you know about layers, and so you could simply say, I don't want to show zip codes right now. I'd rather just look at region and states, or just click down and just show regions, for instance. That's all very simple. But a more elegant way is what a Visual Crossing also offers is a way to zoom lock the layers so that they only appear as you zoom in and out at certain levels. So I don't have to keep turning these on and off. We have a very nice zoom range editor to do that, and you can set that up so when you get down to a certain level, you can see certain levels of detail. One of the scenarios where none of these seem to work for users is when you're talking about a very quick and simple dashboard navigation scenario where you want to look at high-level data, click on it, and see the low-level data contained underneath. And so let's show you a quick example of when that's beneficial. And so I'll go ahead and turn back on my zip code layer, and we'll show you a quick example. Internally, for us, this is what we call like the Texas and Rhode Island problem, which is you have a scenario where you can zoom into a level and have it appear, but you don't want to show it at all the other levels for other areas because they're smaller. And so I'm going to go ahead and zoom into Texas right here, and I'm going to engage my zoom range editor as we discussed previously. And I'm going to say, I only want zip codes to appear at a level maybe just below this level. And so you'll notice that zip codes are now not appearing, and they're nicely grayed out in the layer list. I zoom in a little bit more, though, you can see it. So now I have what I consider to be the level at which I want zip codes to appear because I'm at a full state level. The first problem that you'll see here is that there's no level of filtering that goes on in the simple show the entire layers type of scenario. So I would have to probably add states back in here and show just the border of states so that I can see the outline of Texas and analyze Texas and all of its zip codes underneath. And that's easy enough. We certainly can do that. But I get to this level, it's a little bit confusing to the users. There's a lot more data than what they want. And it also required me to turn layers on and off, zoom lock them, and zoom down to them, and not just simply navigate to them. Well, now the second part of the problem is now I want to be able to see Rhode Island, which is a much smaller state. So I'm going to go ahead and enable states here. And I'm going to quickly just pan over here until I get to Rhode Island. And then I'm going to zoom in, and you notice that zip codes are already on. I'd have to go out, in order to turn zip codes off, I would have to zoom out pretty far because we set them explicitly for Texas. And so you start to see the problem now, that in this case zip codes appear too soon, but for Texas they're right. And that again has to do with the scale and the size of the entities you're looking at on the map. So there is a solution to this problem, and it's all encapsulated into what we call, again, our workflow layer navigation system. And so what I'll do is I'll go ahead and disable the zoom range that I set so that zip codes appears at all levels, or at least is available to, and all of the other layers are as well. Okay. And then I'll go ahead and reset my map here out to a very far level so that you get to see a little bit more detail. And I'll re-enable the regions layer, so I have all three on there. So one of the things that we like to do is not only make things easy on the end user, but also make them easy on the administrator or the map builder. So very simply, you open up our map properties, open up our action editor, which is a very feature-rich functionality that allows the user to customize the map the way they want it. One of the built-in actions is our layer workflow. So we'll enable that. Immediately it asks us for a trigger. When do you want to trigger the workflow? When I click on a region, or do I make a selection? And in this case we'll just say on selection generally. And for the workflow we have a nice quick create function which analyzes your data set that you've given us, which is in this case region state zip, looks at the hierarchy and then creates the workflow for you. And it also creates some fast buttons that allow you to do some additional navigation. And so let's see what this has done for us. I'm just going to accept the defaults here and go forward. And immediately you notice that I'm only looking at region, zip code, and state were automatically disabled. Because the way the system works is it says, well, at what level should I show region, at what level should I show states, and when should I show zip code? And that's defined based on your clicks at this point. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and close the layer list, and we're going to look at our Texas problem, right? Texas, Rhode Island. So I'm going to go ahead and this time I'm just going to click on Southwest, and that will enable one of the workflow actions. And what it does is it immediately zooms you to the bounds and changes the layer for you to the next level. I've chosen to look at the Southwest region, and it's showing me the states. And now I want to look at Texas, so I'll click on Texas. And again, it takes me to that next level down, nicely bounded by the shape of Texas, filtered for that and only for Texas, and it's showing me my zip codes. So in just 3 clicks, I was able to navigate the map and zoom down and analyze Texas. And what about Rhode Island? Well, one of the things we told you earlier is that it also created quick buttons for you. You can go back and forward just like you would with a browser. And so this makes for really great dashboard scenarios where you have a user maybe even on a mobile device, a touchpad, and they just want to point and click and say, zoom down to Texas, show me the details, zoom back out, show me Rhode Island. So we're going to do that. So we zoom down to Texas, and now we'll hit the reset button, which is very handy again for simple users because now I'm back at the state where I ran my map. All too often in GIS systems, the users add layers, turn them on and off, and they get lost in the map functionality sometimes. And so for simple users, again, just click reset. And now I'm back, and now I want to visit Rhode Island. I'll click on the Northeast, and then I'll click on Rhode Island, and what I get is a zip code of just Rhode Island. I get to see the level of detail and the view and the bounding box at which I wish it would just show me automatically. It appears, and then it gives me the capability to analyze many different things at once. And so again, I can reset, and if I want to go down into, let's say, Florida, same thing here. It's all very quick, very easy to set up. And when we at Visual Crossing talk about something being powerfully simple, this is one of the features we refer to. It's a very powerful feature. It can be complex behind the scenes, but we make it very simple for end users to both get it set up and also for end users to be able to utilize this function. So this is a great way to enable your dashboards for a better navigation system where you get to see multiple levels of detail. Thank you for watching.